I kicked my brother out at midnight on New Year's Eve after he disrespected my wife. My brother has never liked Claire. He's never said it directly because he's too smart for that. He just had a way of making it felt. A comment here, a look there, always delivered with just enough of a smile that you couldn't call it what it was. That she was too quiet. That she didn't really fit in with our family. That I'd changed since we got together and he missed who I used to be. 4 years of it. 4 years of Claire absorbing it with grace she didn't owe anyone, while I had version of the same conversation with my brother that never actually changed anything. We'd hosted New Year's Eve this year. 12 people. Our flat. The kind of night where you want everything to feel right because it's the start of something. Claire had spent 2 days cooking. She'd made my brother's favorite dish without being asked because that's who she is, even toward people who've never deserved it from her. He arrived already in a mood. I could tell by the way he walked in and the way he looked around the flat and the way he said nice place in a tone that meant the opposite. I told myself he was tired. I told myself that every time. An hour before midnight, my brother got onto the subject of our childhood, telling stories to the group the way he did when he wanted an audience, loud and confident, pulling everyone in. Then he told a story about an ex of mine from 10 years ago, a woman named Jade, and how she and I had been perfect together and what a shame it was how that had ended. He said it directly across the room to where Claire was standing. She kept her smile on and turned back to the conversation she'd been having. I watched her do it. I crossed the room and told him quietly to drop it. He said he was just telling stories. I said drop it and walked away. 20 minutes later, he was in the kitchen with Claire getting a drink, and I heard him from the living room. I couldn't hear the exact words, but I heard his tone. That specific tone he used when he was delivering something with a smile, so you couldn't quite object. And I heard Claire say, I'd actually rather you didn't, in the quiet, certain way she says things when she's reached her limit. I put my drink down. I walked into the kitchen. I asked Claire if she was okay. She said yes. I asked my brother what he'd said. He said he was just having a conversation. I told him to get his coat. He laughed and said it was 11:30 on New Year's Eve. I told him I knew what time it was. He said I was being insane over nothing. I told him 4 years wasn't nothing, and the kitchen was the last place he was going to corner my wife tonight or any other night. He looked at Claire and said something under his breath I didn't catch. I didn't need to catch it. I held the front door open. He stood there for a moment with the whole room watching him from the living room doorway, and then he picked up his jacket and walked out. I closed the door. Claire was still in the kitchen. I went back in and asked her what he'd said. She told me. It was about her not being good enough for our family. Not for the first time, just the first time he'd said it to her face without me there. I stood in my kitchen on New Year's Eve and felt 4 years of letting it go settle into something I was never letting go again. We watched the midnight countdown with our friends, and it was loud and good, and Claire laughed at something, and I held her, and it felt like the right way to start a year. My brother texted the next morning and said I'd embarrassed him in front of everyone and ruined New Year's. I told him he'd spent 4 years making my wife feel like she didn't belong in our family, and he'd done it for the last time. He hasn't replied. My mom called 2 days later. I told her everything. She went very quiet and then said she wished I'd told her sooner. I told her I'd told her twice, and she'd said he was just protective of me. She didn't have an answer for that. Subscribe for more stories.